On January 28th of this year, this was tweeted. The Chicago Bulls are open for business, and Buzelis is the only untouchable player on the roster. And if you wanted any idea as to why, it's because he can do things like this.
Buzelis, stop and go, kick to Buzelis, fakes Green into the air, drives to the...
Oh, meet me at the rim and don't be late.
At 6'10", Buzelis has a very rare combination of ball handling, shooting, athleticism, and defense as well. Don't think just because Mattis can make highlight plays on offense that he takes plays off on defense. If anything, that might be where his greatest potential lies. Watch him here backtracking in transition against Jalen Brunson. He slides his feet on the initial move, but it's this play here where Brunson goes to his patented low pickup and slow step, but Mattis is good enough to not foul on the pickup before blocking the shot on the fadeaway. Or how about here, which is just a ridiculous defensive play. He's backtracking in transition against Mitchell going full speed, and it looks like Mitchell has him absolutely beat, going one way back the other way, but look at Mattis's ability to then recover after getting beat and block the shot at the rim. That's just a glimpse of what Buzelis can do defensively, and just a glimpse of what the future might look like for him. Because after years of mismanagement from the Chicago Bulls, there is one decision that I am almost certain they've gotten right. It was drafting Buzelis with the 12th pick in last year's draft. And without sounding dramatic, this is the kind of pick that could change their entire franchise. Just hear me out for a second before you start angrily typing in the comments. The problem with what the Chicago Bulls have done over the last few years is, despite moving in a younger direction, they haven't completely bottomed out. And generally speaking, to rebuild, you have to go all the way down and draft a future star with a top 3 or 4 pick. Preferably the number 1 overall pick, but a high-end pick. But every so often, a player drops in the draft. And whilst I'm not saying Buzelis is guaranteed to be a star, I am saying he has as much potential as anyone from that draft class. And as the 12th overall pick, that doesn't happen very often. And I know this is not the strongest draft class in NBA history, but that doesn't mean Buzelis doesn't have serious upside. Because at 6'10", just don't see players doing this regularly, where he gets the ball at the 3-point line. He pump fakes Boucher before Olynyk gets switched onto him, and then the between the legs dribble to beat him before finishing at the rim. Or here against Harkes Jr., again with that initial hesitation before the in and out dribble and the spin inside, finishing with the left. Once again, the key word is fluidity. At that size with that handle, the handle is impressive, don't get me wrong, but I'm more impressed, and I think what is more important is his ability to change angles and change speeds. That is how you get players off balance, that is how you beat defenders and get to the rim, and Buzelis has that rare combination of fluidity and ball handling at that size. I mean, it is very, very evident, and last year he was a good enough shooter to really take advantage of players closing out on him. But the reason I have a level of certainty over Mattis becoming a good NBA player is because, well, it's because he already kinda is. After not getting a heap of minutes to start the season, once he became a starter over the second half of the year, he averaged 13 points a game, 4.5 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 47% from the field, 35% from 3, 81% from the line, and as I've showed you, he showed some serious flashes of great defensive upside. And what is really promising about this is he wasn't doing it on a terrible team. Like I said, the Bulls might not be building a dynasty, but if you look at the numbers and impact he was having on at the least an average or mediocre team, that's just normally not the case for rookies playing big minutes. Often they play big minutes on terrible teams, and it's harder to get a gauge of how their skill set stacks up to winning. Buzelis was at the very least playing on a competitive team. team. And I don't think he'd have it any other way, because in addition to the skill set and the numbers, his mentality might be his most impressive trait. There is no magic dust to playing basketball and being a great basketball player. You work, you get better, and you learn. That's plain and simple. Or what about after having a career night against the Lakers, in which he went off for 31 points on nearly 70% shooting, a 19-year-old going into LA and absolutely dominating Luka Doncic and LeBron James? He would be forgiven for coming out in the postgame and saying he is the next Michael Jordan. That's not what he said, however, because after that performance, this is what he said. I told Billy that I want to be pushed to the limit. I want to be the best player ever. That's just how I think. He's done a great job holding me accountable, and I thank him. When he takes me out for a mistake, I get better. And what I really like about Mattis's personality, which you would have heard, is he has that perfect blend of confidence and ego that the best players do, like calling out Zachary Risache to a one-on-one before the draft, or he wants to become the best player ever, like in that quote, but he also still recognizes he is young, he needs to be held accountable when he isn't performing, and he shouldn't just be guaranteed minutes or responsibility because of his potential. He has to earn it. Just off his physical traits and skill alone, Mattis has the potential to be great, but when you factor in his leadership as a second-year player and his mentality, it's hard not to be excited by his potential. I think worst case for Buzelis, he is a highly athletic, skilled wing who can attack closeouts, who can get to the rim, who can get out in transition and be really lethal, who can defend. That is worst case, because that's pretty much all of what he did last year, with some rookie lumps to go along with it. But at the worst, I think you're getting someone that can be a complementary player. But I think the upside for him as a scorer is just much more significant. Like I've showed you, there just aren't many players at his size that can handle the ball and move as fluidly as he does. Just look at him on this play against Reeves. Again, look at him casually handling the ball, but then he flips the switch, going between the legs with that hesitation, stepping through, and just a soft finish. And then you have the added advantage of that length, allowing him to finish over the top of bigger defenders as well, like here in transition where he goes straight at Luke Cornett, and despite a great contest, Mattis is still able to finish. Now, with all of this being said, even with that flaw that I mentioned, a lot of this does hinge on his shooting ability as well, because whilst he does have the skill set and size to get to the rim regardless, what you would have seen from so many of those clips is how much the game opens up when the defense tries to fly out at him. Because when you have guys who are 6'8", 6'9", trying to contest him at the three-point line, it is so easy for him to then fake them out or put the ball on the floor and use his fluidity to get past them and get to the rim. If he is a non-threat shooting, all of a sudden defenses won't be flying out at him to contest the three-point shot, and it'll just make it that much more difficult for him to get downhill and drive. And in general, it'll just leave less avenues for him to score when the ball isn't in his hands. But if that shooting ability stays at 35, 36%, or if it gets even better with everything else he can do, this is a scary player. And for a team that people consider directionless, Mattis Buzelis, he's the direction. Now, if you made it all the way to the end of the video and want to see more content like this, consider subscribing. It's free. Dropping a like on the video would be cool. Have a great day. Bye.